Hello, and welcome to Cognitions, Speaking the Unspeakable with JP.
And Stacy D.
I am JP Craddock, and that is the one and only Stacy D Love. We are broadcasting remotely here on KUAW Radio. The number to call into the show is 816-599-6893. This month is, as we talked about last week, is Mental Health Awareness Month. And so coming up on the show today, of course, as always, we have, mental health and illness in the news. And then we will follow that up with our question of the day. For Mental Health Awareness Month, we're going to cover another diagnosis. We're covering a diagnosis every week this month. And so the diagnosis that we're going to cover today is phobias. So before we get to that, Stacy D, how are you?
I'm doing really, really well. I just want to, I'm always late. You guys know I'm never early. But I just want to really tell everyone, I know you're really, really late. But I just want to
I'm
just tell
like,
all of our, I just want to tell all of our mothers, happy Mother's Day. Mother's Day to me is still an emotional day. And I just didn't have it into me to tell everybody last Thursday. But I just really want to give a belated happy Mother's Day to all our mothers and also all of our females that represent us being a mother. Because I just really want to say that I had a great aunt, honey, honey. I'm glad she didn't have no kids because she was most definitely a pillar in my life and my children's life and my uncle's life and my brother's lives. Boy, she was when she passed, we broke down like she was their grandmother. It was my grandmother's sister. My grandmother died when I was in the sixth grade. So she most definitely was the best TT in the world. Eddie Lee Kimball, I just love you so much. To my mother, Lynetha Cole, who's most definitely have her wings in heaven, who's always looking over me and my children. My grandmother, Hildred Parker, my great grandmother, Mildred Perry. Oh my God, thank you, ladies, for now not even being here, but just watching over me and my children. It just, God, it's a week later and I still get emotional. My mom been gone 15 years and I still get emotional. But I just had to do that shout out to everybody. Hi.
I was wondering, like, what do you mean you're usually late, Stacy D? I do
Mm,
not think of lateness when I think of Stacy D because
no,
you are pretty punctual.
yeah.
But you
Time is
mean because of
money
Mother's Day,
because of Mother's Day. Yeah.
the
Time
Mother's
is
Day
money.
shout out.
Yeah, my Mother Day shout outs. I was late for that.
Okay. How was Mother's Day for you, Stacy D?
Well, my children know that I will, guess what? I'm a professional and I will actually get caught up in a moment of depression when it comes to Mother's Day and my mother's birthday. Because I was really old enough to really process those. So they just tries to keep me busy, busy, busy. I just feel like I'm the most important person in the world. And, I go to church. After church, I had brunch with my daughter-in-law and her family. And then after that, I had to come home, hurry up and get ready. And then we had sip and pay. Hold on a minute, y'all. Hold on, I want to show y'all something.
And she's gone.
See, if we wasn't at home, I couldn't do this. So I am not creative at all. I can really dress and I know how I want my hair, but I don't have very many creative genes, really. But in my older years, I'm actually getting better. So, the whole sip and paint thing, I'm not really into that because I can't draw. Hell, tell him, JP, what's wrong with my stuff? Okay. Hell, tell him, JP, I can't even hardly write right. And so last time we went to sip and paint, I paid the woman to do my painting because it just wasn't going. So the lady was like, I'm not gonna paint your painting, but I got you one that you're gonna love. And look at my stuff. Look, y'all. I jammed it.
That looks great. You did that?
I did it. Look, the red bottoms, I love my red bottoms. But you know red bottoms hurt your feet. But I got my red bottoms.
Stacy D, no, really. That looks good.
Yes, it does. She outlines it. I can't promote her too much because she didn't give me no money. But she's like really nice, just really enjoyable. And I did a real good painting by myself.
Oh,
and it
so
was so lovely.
So she outlined it?
She just outlined it, but the other one was outlined too, but I didn't do a good job. I paid her $30 to finish my picture. But this time she said, I got you. You're gonna do your own. And it was just such a good experience. It was just a fellowship. And I had my sister, I had my nieces there, my other daughter-in-law, my daughter, even my granddaughter, my mini me. And she, being her was a competition about whose picture was gonna look the best. Well, because I got to keep her competitive. Got to keep her competitive. And it was just such a great atmosphere. My daughter, her partner, it was just a lovely, 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 no fussing, no arguing, just fellowshipping, drinking on wine. That came and got me because I had about 2 ounces.
I was going to ask, since this is sip and paint, and because you don't really sip, so I'm sitting here wondering, well, what were you sipping on, like tea or but you had a little wine.
I had about 2 ounces because King gave them a disclosure: do not bring no problems home to me. So JP didn't heard some of the stories, but Stacy D cannot drink. Stacy D, I keep temple right for God, because it's not made for everybody. And but JP can get down.
Even when Stacy D thinks she's drinking, it could be, you can make a dessert with 2 tablespoons of liquor in it. JP and more liquor Stacy D thinks she feeling something.
I had to go take a nap.
You went. What was that dessert?
Got me drunk. Was it?
I can't remember what it was. It was a cheesecake, wasn't it?
Was it cheesecake?
No, it was a cheesecake.
It was a cheesecake. The cheesecake made me drunk. I had to go sleep for about an hour and a half.
Listen, everybody, because I love Patti LaBelle. In Patti LaBelle's cookbook, there is a Bailey's cream cheesecake. And I made this cheesecake. I promise, Stacy D, the most it has is 1/4 a cup, maybe. I know it's not 1/2 a cup of liquor.
I think it was the whole bottle.
Everyone, I explained to Stacy D that this cheesecake had very little booze in it, and the alcohol itself should cook out of it, and somebody ended up asleep on the couch.
Because I'm a virgin when it comes to alcohol.
That cheesecake was a virgin. Well, Stacy D, I am so happy that you had a wonderful Mother's Day. Let me tell you, I think I gained like 2-3 pounds over the Mother's Day weekend. And yeah, eating, and some frat brothers was in town. So that was a whole separate thing. But so when I got back to my workout at the end of the weekend, Monday, actually, I was doing my little workout, and, I'll do it while Sasha is in her high chair eating. And so I had finished the workout, and I went into the kitchen. Well, I did not hit exit from because it's the YouTube workout videos. I get back in the room. I go back in the family room. They automatically went into another workout. why was Sasha on the floor doing mountain climbers with the video in perfect sync with the workout people in the video? She's doing mountain climbers. She know how to do burpees. I'm just like,
I don't do no
why?
burpees. I don't do no burpees. That's too much.
They bad on the knees. They bad on the knees. Well,
No,
let
they
me tell
bad
you.
on me.
Yeah. Why am I inspired by a 2-year-old? Because I was like, she's doing a full-fledged workout. Like,
She was getting that.
I gotta keep up with the baby. She was jamming. She was handling business. I should have took a video of it. Yeah, I should have took a video. I was like, oh, look at the baby. My baby working out and was handling it. Her form was perfect. It was great. Yeah, it was great.
All right.
Okay.
So what's in the news, JP? What's in the news?
Mental health and illness in the news. You know, FX did a documentary on Britney Spears titled Framing Britney Spears. This was a while ago, and apparently, I haven't seen it, but apparently it was really well done. And so now they are working on a film about Janet Jackson's Super Bowl performance with Justin Timberlake. Now, man,
you know, Janet's one of your girls. Okay, so how you gonna feel about
you
this?
know I do not play when it comes to Patti LaBelle or Janet Jackson, and I have not been able to stand Justin Timberlake since then because I feel like he cashed in on his white privilege and left Janet holding the bag alone for that whole wardrobe malfunction thing. Well, apparently he has released a statement after the Britney Spears thing. He released a statement because apparently he did some things and said some things that were hurtful to her as well. And in this statement, he addressed his past incidents with both Britney and Janet, saying, quote, I care deeply about the well-being of the people I love and have loved. I can do better and I will do better. He said that he sees this as a first step, quote unquote, in accepting accountability for his past mistakes. He admitted that the industry is flawed and sets men, especially white men, up for success, quote unquote. He went on to say, I specifically want to apologize to Britney Spears and Janet Jackson, both individually, because I care for and respect these women and know I failed. I understand that I fell short in these moments and in many others and benefited. This is the really good part here. Now, I don't even like him, but this is good. And benefited from a system that condones misogyny and racism. I am deeply sorry for the times in my life where my actions contributed to the problem, where I spoke out of turn or did not speak up for what was right, as in the case with Janet.
Yeah, he didn't speak up at all.
And I thought to myself, well, hell, it's about time.
Better late than never.
Better late than never. But it's pretty late. And I was going to address that story last week because I was wondering if Janet was going to respond to that. Because in the past, Janet was like, I don't have anything to say concerning him. I know, because Oprah was like, well, have you talked to him? And she's like, he reached out to me and no, I haven't talked to him because she's like, I ain't got nothing to say. And she still apparently has nothing to say. But I like to give credit where credit is due. I'm not a Justin Timberlake fan because, as I said, I feel like he cashed in on white privilege. But I can respect the fact that he is apologizing because it was really blatant at that time that he was given a pass on that, and her career was hugely damaged in that situation. So it's good that he is finally making an apology. Here's another story that was in the news. In St. Johns County, Florida, a 14-year-old boy is being charged with the murder of a 13-year-old cheerleader. Her name is Tristan Bailey. And they're trying to decide if he should be tried as an adult. This is not something that is uncommon, but it's still a little controversial because he's 14, but he murdered somebody, and apparently it was heinous how he did it. But then when you think about a 14-year-old being in prison with grown men, I actually do not know how I feel about kids being tried as adults and going into adult prison.
Well, they
Um,
well, they technically do not go into an adult prison. They stay in the juvenile maximum security in juveniles until they're 18. Sometimes, depending on their mental status, sometimes they're there till they're 21. Then they go to the adult jail.
then they go to the adult pen. Oh, well,
Mhm.
then they need to go and try him as an adult. Okay. So he can do his full time because under the juvenile system, he would serve time until he's 21 and then they let him go. Some states until 18. Okay. The Ahmaud Arbery, the three, that's the African American gentleman who was jogging and three men took it upon themselves to play police officer and they killed him. Well, their attorney is wanting to do a character assassination and bring up some previous incidents of him having encounters with the police. What's interesting, though, is that the video they're wanting to show is police confronting him in a park when he was minding his own business. And so, yes, he's cussing them out, but he's cussing them out because he's like, I'm in a park. And like, what crime am I committing? I am in a park minding my own business. And so the police officers were talking about criminal activity in the area. And he's like, I'm not engaged in criminal activity. I got a
I'm
job.
sitting
I
here at the
work.
park.
Right. And he told him, he's like, I work at such and such and such and such. And so I was thinking, well, they're wanting to show this to show that
Grasping
he
at
could
straws.
be, well, to say that he's aggressive with police officers. But one, these were three fools. These were not three police officers. Okay. These was three round the way hillbillies. And even if, because what they're basically going to say is that he probably did cuss them out, because if he cussed out the popo for harassing him, if he's jogging and these three hillbillies rolled up on him, it probably got unpleasant.
I'm sure
But
it did.
it's three hillbillies rolling up on somebody when he's trying to jog. He's trying to get his workout in. Okay. And yes, they probably got cussed out. That doesn't mean it's okay for them to have murdered him. So I'm waiting to see, are they going to allow this video or are they not? Because their goal is to use it as a character assassination. But I think the prosecution might be able to use it to say, look, he was
Once
not okay with
again,
people
he was
harassing him.
minding his own business.
Exactly. Okay. Here is an interesting story. The vaccine has now been approved for 12 to 15-year-olds, Pfizer. And the current rates, 23 million kids age 5 to 17 have had coronavirus,
Hmm.
to the point that the CDC has said that kids now make up a larger proportion of cases. Here is a really wonderful story. In Ohio, they are now having a lottery where vaccinated people can win $1 million. And they're going to do it for 5 weeks. So if you vaccinated, you can play this lottery and they're going to give away $5 million. And for the kids, because the kids can play also, they are going to be giving away full ride scholarships,
I like
uh,
that.
dorm fees, books, everything to any state school in Ohio. This is all to encourage people to get vaccinated. This is a wonderful thing.
That is
Like,
wonderful.
and in fact, for even $1 million, if they just took one of those millions and opened it up for some adults to take some college courses, because I work with many adults who want to take some college courses, but life has gotten they're too busy for it. They're trying to work and they're raising kids and they're like, I do not have the money for that. And so it's great that they're offering it to kids, but that would actually help our economy also if adults was given the opportunity to take some classes and to get their degree. Okay, I got one more story. A fool in Texas. It seems like I talk about a lot of fools in Texas is full of
Texas
fools.
has a lot going on. That's a state.
Texas is full of fools. Like a man went to jail in Texas. Now, apparently in Texas, you know, you can have your own tiger. Well, he went to jail and his tiger somehow got loose. A neighbor saw a tiger walking across a lawn across the street from his house and, and he recorded it. And so the man has gotten out of jail, but they still have not found the tiger. It's just walking around the neighborhood somewhere. I'm talking
Where
a
kids are.
full-grown. Yes.
I wonder, is the tiger, is it declawed and he don't have his? I'm just wondering.
Stacy D, this is a regular criminal. He's not taking the time to declaw his tiger will bite your head off.
Like Sigmund Freud. Wow.
Siegfried and Roy, yeah, that's a whole nother story. Let me tell you, when I saw that tiger strolling through somebody's front lawn on the news, Stacy D, if I see a tiger strolling through my neighbor's front lawn, the first thing I'm doing is running, and the second thing is screaming because a full-grown tiger. Yes, and so apparently, they're having trouble getting information out of this man about his tiger. Yeah, like because they're trying to figure out, how did your tiger get loose? Where might your tiger be? Did you train this thing to go somewhere?
Tiger, where are they?
Yes,
tiger,
like,
where are they?
help us find your tiger, fool. And he's like, he ain't got nothing to say. So I wonder if we can have pet tigers here.
I don't want one.
Well,
I'm fine with Sire.
Are you sure, Stacy? Because I hook you up with a tiger for your birthday.
No, I'll probably guess what? I'm probably allergic.
Because you're allergic to everything.
I'm allergic to cats, so I'm probably allergic to the big cat.
Possibly. Well,
yeah,
we need to look into that. I'm kind of curious because I need to know if my neighbors can have tigers. I personally am gonna pass. Although I do like big cats, which is odd because I hate little cats, but I like big cats. But I need to know if I'm
big
even
cats like what, JP?
Lions
big
and tigers.
Like what? Ooh,
lions and tigers, and I like the big cats. And like you mentioned, Siegfried and Roy, all those white tigers, the white lions. Now, if I see one of those walk across my neighbor's lawn, I might run out there and hug that tiger, because a big white tiger, you just got to embrace that creature. Just hug a big white tiger. Everybody hug a big white. Okay, I'm tripping.
Yeah, you really do. You can hug the big white tiger all by yourselves. I'm not hugging the big white tiger at all.
Right. Okay, let's get to the question of the day. We have two things.
No
one covering. What'd you say, Stacy?
No white tigers. Okay.
No white tigers. Everybody loves white tigers. Okay, so we're gonna cover diagnosis. And then, Stacy D, we ran out of time and you didn't have enough time to present your rebuttal to last week's question of the day, which was love is enough, right? So can we go ahead and cover the phobia first?
Yes,
and then
do
that.
Let's do the phobia.
Okay, so the phobia is specific phobia, and on our Facebook page, I uploaded a long list of phobias. Okay. And
It's a lot of them.
so that people can get on there and see. But just to give an idea of how broad phobias can be, let me give you all some examples of some phobias. Monophobia is, let me know if you can guess what any of these phobias are, Stacy D. Okay, because
No.
these are very interesting. Okay. Monophobia is fear of being alone, aloneness. Pogonophobia, fear of beards, because some people beard is scared the crap out of some people. And you know what? Here's the thing. When you haven't you ever seen those people's beards where you know they got food and maybe critters crawling around in the beard? I think I think anyone with pogonophobia, that's probably what they're afraid of, like what's alive in that beard.
But you know
Um,
what? There's some since the last couple of years, have you seen, well, you don't do facial hair, but now it has really become a market for beard shampoo, beard conditioner, beard
oh yeah.
detangler, beard, just all type of beard stuff. I
Beards
don't,
are in now.
yeah, they're,
Yeah. Before the pandemic, I noticed that all the men in the gym had beards except me. White men, black men, like it was a green fool up in there and he had a beard. Beards are in. And so for someone who has pogonophobia,
Pogano.
they are not well right now. They are waiting for the beard craze to end. Um, Bromidrophobia, I might have this.
What's
Fear
that?
of bodily odor. Okay.
Say it again, say it
Ballistophobia.
again. What is it again?
Bromidrophobia. Fear
Oh,
of bodily odor, either on yourself or somebody else. You standing in the line at Walmart and that funk hits you and you freak out, then you have
walking behind
bromidrophobia.
somebody, going up the stairs.
Yes. Okay. Here's what that I would think this would be a good phobia to have. Ballistophobia is fear of bullets, missiles, and
Oh,
thrown objects. Okay. Everybody need to have a fear of bullets. Okay. If you do not have ballistophobia, might be something wrong with you because you should be scared of bullets. Okay. Pediophobia, which is a fear of children. Ecclesiophobia, fear of church. Mhm. Um, Coprostasophobia, fear of constipation. Some people can't handle the idea of getting stopped up. Okay. And
stop
it, it freaks them out. It freaks them out.
So they will
So
always take a laxative like all the time. Okay,
they these
okay.
are people who stock up on laxatives,
Yeah.
chocolate ones, any kind they can get, because they are not to get stopped up.
They don't like,
Um,
okay.
Agerophobia, fear of crossing the street.
So they can't cross the street.
Demonophobia. Oh, this one has two terms. Yeah, that's fear of crossing the street. Some people they will not cross the street. Demonophobia, and another term is satanophobia, which is a fear of demons or Satan. Okay, so there's all these phobias, and so let's talk about phobias because a large segment of the population has struggled with phobias before. Okay, myself included, but I'll get to that later. Okay, so let's
Myself
take a look,
also.
huh?
I said, and myself.
Okay, so you know the
Me
phobias
too.
are real.
No,
Okay,
they're real.
yes. Now on our page, I people are going to be shocked because there's a phobia for everything. Phobia of air, phobia of clouds. Like there are people who are scared of like everything basically. On our Facebook page, of course, there is the diagnostic symptom tracking form. You really do not need that for this diagnosis because it does not require a certain amount of symptoms. So I'm just going to run down the symptoms really quick, and you know if you have a phobia or not. Okay, so diagnosing this is not complicated for those of you who are diagnosing yourself. A phobia is fear or anxiety about a specific object or situation. The feared object or situation almost always evokes immediate fear or anxiety, of course. It is actively avoided or endured with intense fear or anxiety. The avoidance piece has to be there. It is out of proportion to the actual danger posed by the object or situation. Now, sometimes people struggle with this because they're like, okay, I have arachnophobia. Spiders really are dangerous. How is this out of proportion? It's considered out of proportion if your phobia of spiders disrupts your life functioning. Like you saw a spider in a room in your house and you will not go in that room. You ain't been in that room in like a week or two.
You're about to sell the house.
You ready to sell the you ran out the house in your robe screaming to the neighbor to come kill the spider. That's a problem. Okay, that's out of proportion. The fear is persistent and lasting at least 6 months or more. It causes clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of functioning. And of course, as we always do on the show, our diagnostic criteria comes straight out of the diagnostic manual. And with all diagnoses, a person can have symptoms of a diagnosis. I've covered this before, but it has to be clinically significant. Like it has to actually be affecting your functioning in some way in order for you to meet the criteria for the diagnosis. The next symptom, the disturbance is not better explained by the symptoms of another mental disorder. For example, if a person has PTSD, the phobic reaction that you may have to something that is connected to a traumatic experience, the diagnosis would just be PTSD. It wouldn't be PTSD plus phobia. So that's basically what that means. Another thing, separation from home or attachment, you would just go with separation anxiety disorder as opposed to giving, the diagnosis of the phobia. So there's 5 categories of phobias. If you all look at the many phobias that I uploaded onto our page, they should fit into one of these 5 categories, which is animal, natural environment, blood injection or injury, situational, and then there's other for any that you having trouble figuring out where it fits. That's where it fits. Okay, now here's the thing. The reason why we wanted to cover phobias today is because people do not realize that you can be free from a phobia. Like you do not have to live your whole life with a debilitating phobia. There is treatment for the phobias. And so the therapy that we use for phobias is called cognitive behavioral therapy. Cognitive, as you all know, because you're watching cognitions are thoughts. So the cognitive part of the therapy, what you and the therapist will do is identify those thoughts or distorted cognitions that are surrounding or fueling the fear. Okay, so whatever thoughts you have, if a person has a fear of flying, for example, the therapist is going to want to pull all of your thoughts about flying because those thoughts are creating and fueling the anxiety, the fear. And so, in order to overcome the fear, all those thoughts have to be addressed and dealt with. And so, what the next step is to replace those negative cognitions with factual information that increases a person's sense of safety. And so, oftentimes, for my clients, when I've had clients who have a fear of flying, I provide them with factual information about, giving them safety information about flying, explaining to them that, you drove to therapy today, you've been driving all over the city every day, and explaining to them that they are much safer in a plane than driving around in a car. You are much more likely to die in a car accident than die on a plane. Like flying has really become really safe. And so you identify the thoughts and replace them with thoughts that are going to increase a sense of calm, decrease the anxiety and the fear. And then the other part of the cognitive therapy is learning coping skills, self-calming techniques and things like that to help manage this anxiety surrounding the phobia. So that's the cognitive part of the cognitive behavioral therapy. The behavioral component, which is really kind of fun, is systematic desensitization. Systematic desensitization as a behavioral intervention is where you gradually, systematically expose the person to their feared stimuli in small increments, starting off in small increments. You might have the person, if it's a fear of
pictures of planes, because we're gonna stay with the flying thing.
Yes,
we're gonna stay with the flying. So you might start looking at
pictures of planes while also learning information about them, and gradually increase to the point of being able to go to an airport, being able to get close. What I would do is start a client off with the smaller planes, and getting in closer proximity to them and getting to the point where the person's able to go on the plane, like systematically desensitizing to it. Because anything that we expose ourselves to repetitively, in time, we desensitize to it. It's kind of like a diabetic a person who has a fear of needles who then gets diagnosed with diabetes and they have a fit. I know my sister's probably watching. She's like, why is he telling my business? But a person who freaks out, like a shot every day, I ain't gonna be able to do it. I ain't gonna be able to do it.
Or have to test your blood levels 3 times, sometimes 4 times a day.
And all of that
needles.
All of that, yes, it freaks these people out. But if you fast forward a couple of months and you catch up with them, they're grabbing their needle and insulin and nothing, because they've been doing it every day. They have desensitized to it to the point where they usually say, I really don't even feel it
anymore.
Yes. And so that's the systematic desensitization piece. And the reason why I suggest that people do this in a structured setting with a therapist is to prevent it from backfiring. Now, I have allurophobia. I had allurophobia. I had allurophobia. Okay, I'm dang near cured. Okay, now, and allurophobia is on our page, so I'm not even going to say what it is. You want to know what it is? Look on the page. And so in grad school, I'll tell you later, Stacy D. In grad school for psychopathology class, my experiment was on myself for allurophobia. And so the cognitive part was I did the research to learn about that which is the source of the phobia. The problem with me not doing it in a structured environment with a therapist is it kind of backfired. I ended up learning the worst things about the object of my phobia and ended up so grossed out, it got worse. It got worse. The systematic desensitization piece backfired because a fellow student had some of what my phobia is and said, well, come over to my house. Everything is going to be fine because you can work on your systematic desensitization in my house. And I was like, okay, I'm going to come over just for like 5 minutes. Every time I come over, I'm going to increase the time and get closer and closer to the object. That backfired because she neglected to tell me that the creature that she had was crazy. And it attacked me while I was there trying to
Well, that just
systematically,
messed up everything.
while I was trying to systematically desensitize. I'm literally running around her house screaming, okay, under attack. And
I can
so
really, and the funny part about that, you guys, I can really see that.
I was so scared.
Oh,
I'm talking, it was bad. At least probably 2 drops of pee came out. I was so scared. And so it was horrifying. And so the reason why I suggest, because we set this show up to help our listeners to be able to kind of diagnose yourselves unofficially. We are not setting it up for you to do your own therapy for your phobia.
don't do it.
Because it can go desperately awry. If I would have done it with a therapist, the therapist would have carefully chosen the creature so that it would not be an aggressive one that attacked me, and would have screened the cognitive information so that I did not end up researching and learning things that was worse than what I already knew about like the creature. And so some of the myths I had were dismissed, but what I learned that was factual was worse. Now, on a positive note, the reason why I say I had allurophobia is because I did kind of get cured of it. Because my wife ended up bringing one of these creatures home and asked if it could stay with us for a while. And I hesitantly agreed. Over the course of the time that we had the creature, I was able to systematically desensitize. Now, I still do not necessarily enjoy these creatures, but I am able to be in a room with them. I'm able to kind of, mix with, not mixing with them. Okay, now I'm not mixing with them, but like I can be near them without experiencing heart palpitations, sweating, any type of panic, any of that. Thank goodness. From the systematic desensitization. Because when the creature was here in
thank
the
you,
house,
Nadine.
huh?
Thank you, Nadine.
Yeah. So, Stacy D, what's your phobia? You know the name of it?
Now,
Oh, you don't?
I don't want to share.
Listen to this. There is a phobia called phobophobia.
What's that?
Phobophobia is a fear of fearing. There are people who have a phobia of having a phobia.
See, it gets to be too much. We have to say
Phobophobia.
phobophobia.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes.
That do sound like a good song. Phobophobia.
Phobophobia. I actually
Phobophobia.
can understand that because a person who has a strong personality will be determined. I will not live in fear. I will not have a fear of anything. I refuse to have a phobia. But if they're freaking out about having a phobia, they got phobophobia. So they still end up with a phobia anyway.
Still end up with a phobia.
Okay, so that is it for the phobia. If anyone has any questions, you can give us some comments on our Facebook page. We will explain it. The phobias are fascinating.
And it's too many of them. It's a phobia for everything.
Literally, there's a phobia for everything. It's a phobia. It's people scared of ink pens. Fools using pencils for everything.
They can get
All
it
right.
wet.
Okay, Stacy D, give us your thoughts on
Um,
phobias or our question of the day from last week.
yeah, let's go on and let's get on into our question of the day. Um, First of all, what was our question? Is love is enough, right? Is
Love is enough, right?
love is enough, right? And as of last week, I was like, yes, I believe so. Um, I had to take mine on the biblical part of it. But first of all, before we even get into it, I had to go back and I know everybody know that I have an adoptee love for King. And everyone know King is my husband. So I would like to read my vows so you can understand my love or my respect for my husband. It goes like this. I don't want nobody to cry, and I'm not gonna cry either. Okay, I had to go back and find these. First, I want to say thank you, God. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for seeing me for who I am. Thank you for being kind, consistent, and caring. I could not have designed a better mate, partner, or a friend. I just must thank God for giving me a good one that is exceedingly and abundantly above all that I could have imagined. It's crazy how you came into my life and fit in a way that only God could have orchestrated. Love is unbelievable. It's acting inconvenient times. You consistently well, yeah, y'all know what I'm saying. That God is in control and to put my fears to bed and to cast my cares on Him. I thank you for that. At times I felt overlooked, picked over, and dismissed. But now I know that, like Adam, God made everyone else unconscious while He was molding me into the woman that I was called to be to you, to love you. You are the first and only man my mama ever liked and my brother CB. You are what I pray for in my silent whispers to God. I could not put you into words if I tried. God knew the desires of my heart, even the ones I couldn't put into words. He even knew what I needed. Just like Jacob and Rachel, not only did God give me my preference, but He also watered me with my purpose. I will listen when you speak. When you're weak, I will pray for your strength. I will honor you in our marriage at all times. I will respect you and I will hold your heart with integrity and love. I will be honest and understanding with patience and grace. I will keep God in the center of our union. I am your Ruth and you are my Boaz. I am your Bonnie and you are my Clyde. I am your Whitney, because we're going to act ignorant sometimes, and you are my Bobby. You, I am your Michelle, and you are my President Obama. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Then, now, forever. When is then is where we were. Now is where we are, and forever is where we will be. Our trilogy. I can't imagine anything I could not love you through. I just love you so much, King. Thank you, God. And those were my vows to my husband. In Ephesians 5 and 25 through 33, and I'm not going to read it all, it says that the husband is supposed to love their wives like God. Listen, the husband is supposed to love their wives like God loved the church. And women are supposed to respect our husbands. Okay. And that was actually in the New Testament in Ephesians 5:25 to 33. I'm gonna let y'all go on and read that. And I always speak on the Proverbs 31 wife. You know, it's also in the old version. It's Proverbs, Proverbs 31, 10 through 31. And it just basically says how a wife is supposed to be, regardless, and her husband can't do nothing but love her. That's all my husband's supposed to do is love me. So in the course of a relationship, love is enough. Because, and mind you, I'm not saying in boyfriend girlfriend relationships, I'm speaking in husband and wife relationships. And then we also talk, there's also two different types of love. That is that is mentioned in the Bible. There is a Dafi love, and basically a Dafi love is just a strong love. It's not about having sex with you. It's not a family love. That's that ground routed love between a husband and a wife. That's basically supposed to be the ultimate love. And that's an act of love, is an action word, and it's shown by the way you act, the way you do things. Those are love. Like it's love don't cost a thing. And and I tell King all the time, um, but he be saying I'm lying. I was like, babe, we can live underneath the bridge in a tent as long as we have each other. He's like, you lying. But I'll be for real. As long as I have King with me, we can do anything.
Okay.
And then there's a filial love, a filial love. That's
Ophelia.
a filial love, yes. That conveys the strong feeling of attraction. That's more that attraction love. And then you have the ero love. No, it's not pronounced ero. I'm just
Eros.
look at it. Excuse me.
Eros.
Yes, but it's not pronounced like it's spelled though. And that's that family love and the love you have towards friends. But the two main love is agape love and filial love. Those are the two main loves that are in the Bible. Come
Okay.
on, is love enough? Right, JP?
It's not. Here's why I say I want you to think outside of your marriage. Because for me, as a therapist who has been a therapist for hundreds of people,
Hundreds and hundreds
I
of years.
I can't look at what I see in therapy through the personal lens of my own marriage. And so I want you to think outside of what you and King have, because the question of the day was love is enough, right? In the
Right.
examples that you gave examples, everything from Barack and Michelle Obama
To
to
Bobby.
Whitney and Bobby.
I sure did.
Whitney left Bobby. Bobby spit in Whitney's face. Remember?
I know.
She
But
did the
they
interview
did have a
about Bobby
love.
spitting in her
They did
face.
have a love. Y'all, I'm gonna let y'all know. JP is gonna tear this up because that's how he is. But Bobby and Whitney had a great love. Whichever movies you look at with Bobby and Whitney, the things that you read about, they had a love. It was a crazy love. That's the reason why I put it in my vows, because I want, just like I said, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's all that. That's what all love is.
Well, yeah. Well, and the question though, as I had said, it doesn't debate whether or not love is there. It's a question of, do you love me enough? Enough to treat me with dignity and respect? Because you said yourself, husbands are to love their wives like God loves the church. That's the point that I'm making. See, because
Yes.
that sets a standard for the love. And so, this week, because I'm looking at it from the perspective as a therapist, and remember, we did the 2 shows on male victims of domestic violence. And this week, I started therapy with another male victim of domestic violence, and his wife. She professes her love.
But she
And
doesn't
we're not going to
respect
debate her love.
She doesn't respect him though. She doesn't respect him.
Enough, exactly. Because what he needs for her to love him enough to stop beating him and like assaulting him, and like I'm talking knockdown, drag out fights. So when she says
She's
I
not
love you,
respecting him. She's not respecting him.
right, that's the enough. That's what I mean. Like love, it has to be loving someone. People love their favorite pair of shoes, Stacy D.
Nope, that's a different type of love.
It doesn't matter. It's love. You can't tell
It's
people
a
what their
different type
love
of love.
is. But that's what I'm saying. You cannot tell people what their love is. It's like the example I gave with my court ordered parents who come into therapy and they want to argue. Don't tell me I don't love my kids. Don't tell me I don't love my kids. And I always say, I'm not debating whether or not you love your kids. The question is, to get your kids out of foster care, you need to love them more than you love meth. You need to love them enough to choose them over meth, to choose them over crack, to
And I
choose
agree with
them
you.
over the
And I
men
agree.
that
And I
sexually
agree.
abused your kid. And unfortunately, far too many times, I have had these mothers who will stick with and stay with that man who sexually abused their kid and let their kids stay and grow up in foster care. Now, they love their kids. The problem is they don't love them enough to choose them. And so I hear what you're saying about you and King. What I'm saying is that I'm not talking about you and King. I'm talking about loving someone enough to treat them with respect, to treat them with dignity, to honor them. And every person, we all have to know our worth and our value, because the world is
Exactly.
going to treat us in accordance to our worth and our value. If we devalue ourselves, we need to expect that our intimate partner, and I don't care if it's somebody who's married, if they are boyfriend and girlfriend, girlfriend and girlfriend, they're going to treat you in accordance to the value and the worth that you have placed upon yourself. And so love is a wonderful foundation to start with, but a person needs to
So
love
it's
you
not enough.
enough.
It's not enough.
It's not enough if you being beat, or if you are choosing drugs over your
And then
kids,
that's when you
or
have to then that's when you have to go back and reevaluate the love. They
so.
don't have enough.
So in those situations, Stacy D, because last week what you said is that a person, you need to love your mate so much that they then see how much you love them, and then they will begin to love you on the level that you love them. Does that apply to these situations that I'm describing, that I see in therapy
If
every
you
day?
have yourself in harm's way, I will not tell anyone to stay in that type of relationship.
Okay, well then we're in agreement.
Yeah, then we're in agreement. You need to separate. And if you still want to work with them, then they need to work on that. They need to work on things, but do not. I'm sorry. If anybody misunderstood what I said, please do not stay in any type of a relationship like that.
Okay, because in those instances, that's not enough love
No,
if you're
that's not
not
a
being
healthy
treated right.
relationship. And where I'm coming from is more of a healthy relationship. Because even in a healthy relationship, there are going to be problems, but there still need to
Yes,
be rules. There are rules to every game.
yes. I have worked with couples where the husband has made a whole nother baby outside of the marriage, and they have been able to survive that, but not
Yes.
because of how much she loved him, because of him being willing to get in touch with how he came to be the person that he was when he did that, and him working through it.
But
Him
guess what? He loved his wife enough to make her feel comfortable and to make that a good situation.
and
Once again, he
enough
loved his wife. Yes.
and enough to choose her over continuing to run around and sleep with everything that was moving. It's about enough. So Stacy D, we in agreement.
We in agreement, everybody. I just let Gerald win, y'all, for a change. That's all it is. But
We
it's three
both win.
o'clock, and it's time for us to wrap this baby up
Yes.
and put her to
Thank
sleep.
you. Thank you everyone for joining us, and remember, worry about nothing.
And pray about everything. Bye bye now.
Bye. God bless and take care.